Hello friends, welcome back to lecture 3. This lecture is regarding drug regulatory authorities of different countries of India and their functions. So, the learning objective of this lecture, you would be able to understand more about the National Regulatory Authority of India, its structure, its composition, functions of CDSCO and State Licensing Authority, different ministries approved for the approval of these drugs. Then you will get familiar with some of the regulatory authorities which are important globally, and also you will be able to understand the objective of these regulatory authorities. So, let us start with the different regulatories. See in global map we can see the Canada is having its regulatory authority as a Health Canada, then UK is having MHRA, and in India it is a CDSCO, that is a Central Drug Standard Control Organization. If you see the Australia, it is a TGA, then for Japan it is a PMDA, and for ANVISA it is a Brazil. Let us see some other major and important regulatory authorities also. So, the India, as I have said, it is a Central Drug Standard Control Organization CDSCO, and at the state level it is either Food and Drug Administration or Drug Control Authority. In the European Union it is a European Medical Agency. In the UK it is MHRA, that is a Medicines and Healthcare Product Regulatory Agency. USA it is the most important, and it is US FDA, that is US Food and Drug Administration. Then Australia is what we have seen, it is a TGA, that is Therapeutic Good Administration. Then New Zealand it is a MedSafe, that is Medicines and Medical Devices Safety. South Africa it is Medicines Council Control MCC. For the Japan it is a PMDA, that is Pharmaceuticals and Medical Device Agency, they control both medical device and the drug. Switzerland it is a Swiss Medic. For the Brazil it is a ANVISA, that is Agencia Nacional de Vigilancia Sanitaria. Mexico it is COFERIS, it is a Comisión Federal para la Protección contra Riesgos Sanitarios, Federal Commission for Protection Against Sanitary Risk. For the Chile country it is a ISP, that is Instituto de Salud Pública de Chile. For the Colombia it is INVIMA, that is Instituto Nacional de Vigilancia de Medicamentos Alimentos Carrera. For the Argentina it is ANMAT, ANMAT, which is a Argentine National Administration of Drugs, Food and Medical Technology. For the France it is Agencia Française de Sécurité Sanitaire des Produits de Santé. For the Germany it is Federal Institute for Drugs and Medical Devices. Let us see the objective of NRA. The objective of every national regulatory authority is to ensure the safety, quality and efficacy of the drug available in the market. The regulatory system for medicines must continue to ensure that medicines available in the market are having highest possible level of confidence in their overall safety and quality of the drug and its efficacy. The current system of contemporary medicines allow consumer to have faith in quality, safety and efficacy of medicines. Let us see the different ministries and departments involved in the drug regulatory processes. So, there are many of the ministries, like Ministry of Chemical and Fertilizer is having a department of pharmaceuticals. Under the department of pharmaceuticals there is a department of NPPA, that is National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority, and this department are mainly involved for the pricing of the drug available in India. The another ministry, that is Ministry of Health and Family welfare, the head is health secretary, and having subordinate office DGHS, Director General Health Services. Under that, CDSCO is mainly responsible for giving the approval of new drug, giving the approval of clinical trials, and giving the permission for import and manufacturing. We will see the functions in detail in our subsequent slides. Then the Ministry of Environment and Forest. So, under this ministry there is a department like GEAC, that is Genetically Engineered Appraisal Committee. This committee is mainly responsible for review and application of activity involving large scale of genetically engineered organisms which are used for the R&D purposes. Then the Department of Biotechnology is under the Ministry of Science and Technology, is having a RCGM, that is Review Committee of Gene Manipulation, and this department is mainly responsible for authorizing import and exports of the biosimilar drugs. This department is also responsible for review of the preclinical data, and it gives the recommendation whether to conduct the clinical trial or not. State licensing authority, as we have seen, every state is having different laboratories and every state is having its own Food and Drug Administration, sometimes called as Drug Control Authority also. They are having the different functions like giving the manufacturing permission, giving the cell licenses. We will see this in detail in our subsequent slide. So, what is Indian NRA and what is its composition? So, this is the Indian NRA, that is National Regulatory Authority of India. We call it as a Central Drug Standard Control Organization, that is CDSCO. Let us see the composition and structure in detail for the CDSCO. As shown in the picture, the CDSCO is having its office, that is headquarter at New Delhi, and it is entrusted with different types of function. It is headed by the DCGI, we have seen it, and the main function is to give the approval for the clinical trial, for the import, for the export purpose, for the BAB product, and for the LVP and some special biological products approval, that is vaccine, sera, diagnostic and other product like medical devices. Zonal offices, the CDSCO is having around 13 zonal and subzonal offices, and these offices are at North Zone, the office is at Ghaziabad. For the East Zone, the office is at Kolkata. For the West Zone, the office is at Mumbai, and for the South Zone it is at Chennai, Ahmedabad for it is zonal office, and Hyderabad it is also zonal office for the South region. To assist these zonal offices and for the convenience of the customer and to keep more vigil directly on the drugs, there are some sub-zonal offices. So, these are the sub-zonal offices at Baddi, Varanasi, Indore, Guwahati, Bangalore, Goa and Jammu. To regulate the import and export, the offices are also established at the port offices. These are some of the port offices. We are having the office at Delhi Airport, then Tughlakabad, Patparganj, these are all the port offices. Delhi Airport mainly responsible for the import export of the drug, cosmetic and medical devices. Then Mumbai, for the West Zone it is at Air Cargo, Nhava Sheva. Then for the Chennai it is at Chennai and Kolkata, these are also having the port offices. Hyderabad, Ahmedabad, Bengaluru and at Goa also we are having the port offices. Visakhapatnam, Krishnapatnam, these are newly created port offices. Gujarat, at 3 places we are having the port offices. Then Cochin and Tuticorin also we are having the port offices. We have seen the different testing laboratories, that is central drug testing laboratories, which are at Kolkata, Kasoli, Mumbai, and central drug testing laboratories at Mumbai, Chennai, RDTL, that is regional drug testing laboratory at Guwahati and Chandigarh. These laboratories are mainly involved in testing of drug, the sample sent by the inspectors and validation of test protocol. One more laboratory, that is Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission, it is at Ghaziabad. Let us see the other, that is Drug and Cosmetic Act and rules thereunder, and we will see subsequently the functions of CDSCO and concern SLA. So, first the Drug and Cosmetic Act and why it is exercised at two levels, that is state level and at the central level. So, I would like to say that the act is in the concurrent list of 7th schedule of Indian Constitution, and whatever the items in the concurrent list, that has to be exercised at two levels, that is at the central level and at the state level. Hence, the act is exercised at two levels, that is central and the state. The Drug and Cosmetic Act 1940 and the rules 1940 have entrusted various responsibilities to central and state, being in the concurrent list. It envisages uniform implementation of provision of the act and rules made thereunder for ensuring the safety, quality and well-being of the patients by regulating drug and cosmetic and clinical trials. Under this act, CDSCO is mainly responsible for giving the permission for conduct of clinical trials, then for the permission of new drugs, subsequent new drug, global clinical trials. It is also responsible for laying down the standards of drug and control over the quality of imported drug in the country, and this can be done in coordination with the state officers. Let us see in detail what are the functions of CDSCO. So, the first, the function is the approval of new drug and its clinical trial. So, the firm or applicant has to apply to the CDSCO at headquarter in a specific form we have seen for its new drug approval and clinical trial. Then import and registration, these functions now have become online on SUGAM. The applicant has to apply for the import license and for registration certificate into the CDSCO headquarter. Then licensing of blood bank, LVPs, vaccine, rDNA product and some medical devices. The approval for these new drugs and for LVP, rDNA, it is also at central CDSCO and at the Delhi headquarter. Then amendment to D&C Act and rule is also one of the function of the CDSCO. Banning of drug, cosmetics and medical device, this is also undertaken by CDSCO. Then grant of test license, personal license, that is a grant for the test license. Before the manufacturing, the drug has to be tested, or before the import, the test license has to be taken, that is also given by the CDSCO. Personal license, it is the license, that is if a patient requires to import some drugs from outside the country, then in that case the personal license can be given by CDSCO. Testing of drug and registration of ethics committee. Registration of ethics committee is mandatory, we have seen in the rules. So, the applicant or ethics committee can apply for its registration at the CDSCO headquarter. Conduct of DTAB and DCC meeting. Drug Technical Advisory Board for the technical matters and DCC for ensuring uniform implementation of Drug and Cosmetic Act, and this meeting conduct is at CDSCO headquarter. Let us see some of the few state licensing authority. So, this is the Food and Drug Administration Authority of Maharashtra, then Drug Control Department of Karnataka, then Government of Telangana, that is Drug Control Authority of the Telangana. We will see in detail what are the functions of the state licensing authorities. The state licensing authorities are mainly involved in giving the manufacturing licenses for drug including API and for the finished formulation. So, the applicant after getting a new drug permissions and approval, then for its manufacturing they require to apply in their concerned state licensing authority, After verifying the facility, then the state licensing authority, if deemed fit, they can give the manufacturing license to that particular applicant or particular firm. Licensing of establishment for sale or distribution of drug. The retail, wholesale, these licenses are also given by the concerned state licensing authority after satisfying the norms. Then approval of drug testing laboratories. Some of the drug testing laboratories are available which are private also. So, approval of these testing laboratories can be given by the state licensing authorities. Monitoring of quality of drug and cosmetic marketed in India. So, for this the drug inspector are interested to withdraw the samples and they send the samples to the concerned state laboratory for its test and analysis. So, this is also the function of state licensing authority. Investigation and prosecution in respect of contravention of legal provisions. If the drug is found to be substandard, spurious or misbranded, then the inspector and other officers has to launch a prosecution and this has been entrusted with the state licensing authority. Also, the investigation of these matters is carried out by the state licensing authorities. Then recall of substandard drug. If the drug has been forwarded for testing and analysis and found it as substandard and not good for the health of the subject or patients, then the recall of that all the drug available in the market is the function of state licensing authority. State licensing authority in this regard can issue direction or show cause notice to the firm to recall all the product. So, this is about the lecture and we will have a quick recap what we have understand. The questions for you to check your memory power. Question first, what is a regulatory agency? So, the regulatory agency is a governmental body that is created by a legislature to implement and enforce specific laws, for example, drug and cosmetic. An agency has a quasi-legislative functions, executive function and judicial functions. Question 2, which is the regulatory authority responsible for monitoring safety, quality, efficacy of medicinal product in India? CDSCO is the national regulatory body, that is NRA, which is along with the state drug department monitor drug safety, quality and efficacy. What kind of permission require DCGI or CDSCO approval? DCGI or CDSCO approval is required for specific category of drug like new drug, clinical trial, blood product, LVP, medical devices and IVD kits. So, what we have learned, let us summarize. In this session, we have learned about Indian and some international drug regulatory authorities. Indian Drug Regulatory Authority is a central drug standard control organization authority. Some other regulatory authorities like a US FDA for US, then for the Japan it is a PMDA, for the UK it is MHRA, for the TGA and the other regulatory authorities like European it is a EMA and many more we have seen. We have seen the existing structure of CDSCO, that is headquarter at Delhi and it is having the subordinate offices we call zonal offices or subzonal offices. There are about 13 zonal and subzonal offices across the country. Then we have seen the function of CDSCO, it is mainly involved in the approval of the clinical trial, new drug, import, export and other things. The functions of SLA, that is giving the manufacturing licenses, retail licenses, wholesale licenses, these are the main functions. Then objective of NRA. So, objective of every NRA is to ensure that the safety, efficacy and quality of medicines available in the market. So, we will see some other things in next subsequent lectures. Till then, bye bye, okay, and thank you.